coverage on today's SpaceX launch. We are just minutes away from launch time. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Tim Smith. He's out at the island. Tim.
Yeah, Dina, the clock just got below T-minus 4 minutes, so the countdown is continuing. We were here yesterday, a little bit later in the day, but we were here all the way down to T-minus 40 seconds, where there's a built-in hold that they can stop the clock then and do a final systems check. But as of this moment, we've got that the weather's green, the range, which means the flight pattern downwind, and also the Gulf downstream is all cleared out. They're green there, and it's green for both the Starship and for the booster. So everything is green at this moment as we count down to the launch. So we're getting closer, and we look above us, and the sky is about as blue as it can be. There are a few clouds out there, but for the most part, it's turned into a beautiful evening out here. You look at the Starship, it is about 99% fueled. If you look closely at it, you can see those condensation rings, basically ice rings on the outside of it, that now the whole thing is pretty much iced over, and that's a sign that the fuel is all the way to the top on both the booster, which is the bottom portion of the Starship, and on the Starship itself, which is the top third of it, up around the chopsticks up there. Chopsticks are open, everything going according to plan, and the clock is still running. Of course, there's an awful lot of people out here who've been here for 3 days in a row waiting to see a launch, and they're still waiting here patiently. I can see a lot of people from where I'm standing here at Long Island Village, where we have been for every launch going all the way back to 2019. So once again, if this goes on schedule here in just a couple of minutes, about 2 minutes now, if it goes on schedule, that whole thing will take off, and about 2 minutes into flight, there'll be basically the engines, the Raptor engines on the top part on the Starship will ignite, and they'll stay connected for a little bit, and then they'll break apart. And the bottom part, which is the booster, will fall back into the Gulf, we'll call it that, the Gulf of Musk we've been calling it. It'll fall back in, and then what they're going to try to do is have it hover a little bit above the water and then set it down in. At the same time, the top part, the Starship itself, will continue going. It will ideally make it all the way over to the Indian Ocean, where it will do the same thing, set down gently into the Indian Ocean. Along the way, they're going to use what they call the PEZ dispenser to put out some simulated Starlink satellites. They're not the real thing, but they're simulated, and they're going to put about 10 of those out, and it literally looks like a PEZ dispenser. A little slot opens up, one slides out, another one comes up, slides out, another one comes up, slides out. All that will happen during flight if all goes according to plan. They've planned that before, but it hasn't happened. So the goal is, let's see if we can make it happen this time. So that's what's going to be happening over the course of the next hour or so. But for us, we're going to stay with it all the way through the hopeful splashdown of the booster in the Gulf. So let's go over to SpaceX now. We're going to join them for their coverage and listen to their experts as we count down the last minute and the possible hold at T-minus 40 seconds. Here's SpaceX.
1 minute to go to launch. All right, so again, our hold point comes up at T-minus 40, not tracking any reason to stop there, so we should see us go right through that. All right, we are through T-minus 40. We are counting down. We're going to let our flight director, Maciek Batura, take us the rest of the way. 30 seconds, the 10th liftoff of Starship.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Booster chamber pressure nominal.
All right, we're a little over 40 seconds into flight. 33 out of 33 Raptor
avionics
engines.
power and telemetry nominal.
Getting good call outs, healthy systems on the booster as it starts to pitch over the Gulf. All right, we're a little over 1 minute into flight, about to pass through max Q.
Max
right, so we are through the period of maximum dynamic pressure, max stress on the vehicle as it continues to fly.
Our next major event is going to be hot staging, which is happening in just over 90 seconds from now. To get ready, the booster will shut down all but 3 of its Raptor engines. The clamps holding the 2 stages together will release, and the Starship second stage ignites its engines. The ship then separates from the Super Heavy booster and heads to space. At the same time, the 3 engines still firing on Super Heavy will flip the booster around. 10 more engines will ignite for the boost back burn, putting the first stage on the path for splashdown in the Gulf. As we mentioned earlier, the hot stage will be jettisoned for this flight, and that should occur just after the boost back burn. So we're about to shut down the first stage and perform hot staging. So let's just watch and listen.
All right, seeing the engine start to throttle down.
MECO. Ship ignition. Boost back burn startup.
Stage separation.
Stage separation confirmed. We've got 6 engines running on ship. Booster is doing its boost back burn, continuing now towards its splashdown site in the Gulf. We are seeing all 6 Raptors lit up on ship. You heard them report ship chamber pressure is nominal, so that chamber pressure, just that expected thrust level in those Raptor engines on the ship. 3 vacuum optimized, 3 sea level, all looking
nominal.
good. There's a view into the business end from the ship.
Boost back burn shutdown.
All right, so at this point, we finished our boost back burn, so that was shut down. So that's the first of the 2 burns after a launch that the booster is going to do today. So now it's headed towards the Gulf. It's not going to be quite as an aggressive of a flight down. We relaxed that angle of attack a little bit, but we are then going to be looking for it to do its engine tests for the landing burn, and those are going to be a little unique this time.
Yeah, typically we start with all 13 inner engines lit for that landing burn and bring that down to just the center 3. But one of our test objectives for today is to simulate what an engine out situation would look like. So we're going to be intentionally turning off one of those center 3 and instead lighting one of the engines from the middle 10 ring.
Yeah, we did see one of those engines in the middle ring shut down during the initial ascent. Oh, looks like we have hot stage jettison. You can see it floating away there to the left of the booster. Yeah, we did see one of those middle engines shut down during the ascent. Again, we are resilient to engine out on Super Heavy. That's why we're able to get through our ascent. Starship flying on the expected path. There's still a chance that engine could be back in the mix for the very start of the landing burn, so we'll see if we light up all 13. But we've even done a landing burn at the tower with an engine out, so very resilient. We'll see how it does on its way down to the Gulf, though. All right, so we got a couple of minutes. That landing burn start should be just about 40 seconds away. That's always rad. You can see the boost plume itself in the background as it was coming in. All right, about 20 seconds to landing burn.
Ship Raptor chamber pressure is nominal.
All right, here we go.
Landing burn startup.
Looks like we got 12 of those 13.
Down to 3, including one of the middle ring. Down to 2. Nice little hover. And landing burn shutdown. And into the Gulf, here we come. And the booster has splashed down.
Incredible flight for booster today.
Meanwhile, back in space. About 7 minutes into today's flight, ship continues.
So there you have it. We saw the launch on schedule at 6:30, and all of the objectives met so far. This portion of the rocket is what we just saw splash down in the Gulf. It came down. Standing here watching it fall is amazing how fast it's falling. This thing is huge. Falling through the sky, they right it, fire the engine, then it just hovered for a little while over the Gulf and then just splashed down. They lost contact once it did that. This part now will keep going, hopefully, all the way across the Gulf, all across the Atlantic, into the Indian Ocean, where we'll do a similar burn and splashdown as well, with a number of experiments being performed along the way. So there's a sonic boom. I don't know if you heard that or not, but we just heard the sonic boom. It takes quite a while for the sound to get from where that happened to here, and it's far enough away that it wasn't, window rattling like it is when it happens here on the tower. But still, we just heard the sonic boom, and that was pretty significant. I got to tell you, we've done all these, every one of them in the very beginning, and when you feel the earth shake and the windows rattle, there's nothing quite like it. It's the biggest flying machine ever built by man, and you're here seeing it right here on South Texas, and it's just pretty amazing to see it. So let's go over to South Padre. There's another sonic boom. Let's go over to Sarah Savetta, who's on South Padre Island with the crowd, to tell us what it's been like over there. Sarah?
Yeah, you could feel the excitement here in the air. People were pointing, they were clapping, they were cheering. I'm going to step out so my photographer can kind of show you, but folks are still here. You could just feel the excitement coming from them. They're taking photos now. I heard people in the background saying that this is something they've never seen before. It was the most exciting thing they've ever seen. So as soon as Starship took off, it was definitely a memorable moment. Lots of folks capturing it on their cameras, pointing, high-fiving, hugging, because this is definitely a moment for the books. But going back to you, Tim, how are things over there at Port Isabel?
If that comes over you, it rains sand on you. All right, we are back here in Port Isabel. We're watching, I was just telling Victor, our camera guy, there's the cloud of sand that moves over, and that's what's pushed out from under the launch pad. And if it goes right over the top of you, sometimes it can rain sand for a little while. That's happened a couple of times, and coated all our equipment in sand. But it's just the sand that was underneath the launch pad that gets kind of pushed out during the launch. And we can see that brown cloud moving in this direction. But Starship still on its normal trajectory, making its way through the Caribbean. They're doing a lot of different things with it, but it's going to take about an hour to get to the Indian Ocean, so we'll continue to track that and have an update for you tonight at 10 on what the success of that portion of the mission is. But finally, it took 3 days, but we finally got Starship, the 10th test, off the ground here on South Texas, and it's just amazing to see it, because if you've never seen one, it's worth a trip out here just to experience the noise and the vision of what it looks like. Of course, again, we'll have an update for you tonight at 10. Live in Port Isabel, Tim Smith, Channel 5 News at 6.